Three, two, one. Hey, welcome back to another edition of Open Shutter, and have the pleasure of welcoming Taha to the program, man. Thanks for fitting this in.
No, of course. Thank you for having me.
You had a busy day today.
Very busy.
Yeah, man. Is this your first podcast in life?
This is my, I think, second podcast. The first one was with a friend who wanted to start a podcast like 4 years ago. He did like a few episodes and then he gave up. So
Oh man. Hardest part is to keep going, I think.
I think so. I think being consistent is like whenever you're doing anything creative, being consistent is very hard.
It's tough though, right? It's tough to be consistent sometimes.
Yeah.
But that's why you're here.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So what do you want the people to know about you?
Yeah, just a quick brief summary. My name is Taha. I am a photographer and content creator and YouTuber third.
Okay.
I live in Toronto, Canada. I moved to Canada, I want to say 2.5 years ago at this point, with my dog, who is in my lap right now, but you can't see. And passion for photography, it pretty much means a lot to me. I love creating. I love making art. I love making YouTube videos as well, talking about the latest gear, and that's pretty much it. Yeah.
You're a Fuji guy, eh?
I am a Fujifilm shooter. I started doing photography with a Fujifilm camera back in 2017, late 2017, and I just really liked the system, and I just never switched.
Yeah. What's like the main selling point of buying Fuji? If someone wanted to buy the first camera, what would you tell them?
So why to pick Fuji specifically?
Yeah.
Well,
why?
I actually made a video on that, and I think I have a few reasons why I think Fujifilm is a great entry point.
Right.
I think it's very user friendly, especially for people who are starting out with photography. Because when I first started, I didn't know how to shoot manual. So having like the simulations and the recipes and the nice color science built in really helps getting those nice photos, even though at first you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
The second thing is I had a Fujifilm X-T30, which had the dials on top. So it had a shutter speed dial. You also have the aperture ring on the lens itself.
Yeah.
And you have an ISO dial. And when you're trying to learn the exposure triangle for photography specifically, when everything is digital, you can't really visualize or understand much of what's happening, in my opinion. But having those dials really helped me figure out how the exposure triangle works and understand how it works.
Interesting.
So I'd be like, I have a scene in front of me. I'd be like, okay, well, this is a landscape. Let me move my aperture ring to let's say f11. I want to get everything nice and sharp. And then I move to my shutter speed. All right, well, maybe I need to decrease my shutter speed a bit. And then I figure out my ISO. Just having the dials, like physical dials, kind of helps. Exactly. Obviously, when you start photography, you're pretty slow. So I was kind of slow at first. And then once you get the hang of things, you just change everything to your rings and dials and everything.
Interesting. Easier. Never thought of it that way.
Yeah, I don't know. That's how I kind of learned my manual, how to use camera on manual.
Yeah.
The third reason, I think the community, the Fujifilm community is I want to say smaller than other communities like Canon and Sony.
Right.
But I do want to say that the Fujifilm community is very friendly, or I want to say friendlier,
less aggressive.
I want to say less aggressive than other communities. I don't know.
Right.
I see my friends who shoot with Sony and Canon. I see like the comments on their YouTube videos.
It's out of control. It's out of control.
It's crazy the way people
why
love. I don't know why people have this affinity for brands, because you can support a brand as much as you want. It's like, it doesn't matter. In the end, a camera is a tool, and you need to use the tool that you're comfortable with, and whatever gets you the result that you want.
Yeah,
that's pretty much how I see it.
Yeah, I know, right? Like it's crazy sometimes.
It's insane. But I think those three reasons are very. Those three reasons are very valid why you should start with a Fujifilm camera.
Okay.
But the fourth one, which was, I want to say, I guess the kind of the funniest one, is when I started photography, I didn't have much of a budget.
Right.
Because obviously when you start something new, like a new hobby, You don't want to go all out and spend like $4 or $5 and then end up being like, okay, well, I don't like this and I'm gonna have to sell it anyways, right?
Mm.
And you're gonna end up with like a big loss on your money.
Yeah.
So my parents were like, no, you know what? Pick something budget friendly.
Yeah.
So I went through all the options. I was gonna get a Sony A6500 or A6400, I believe,
Right.
and then I looked at the lens and I'm like, holy man, these G
Man.
Master lenses are like $3, $4,
It's
$2.5
insane,
grand.
bro.
And I'm like, this is out of my budget. Sure, there's third-party lenses. People are gonna say that, but where I'm from, I'm from Lebanon, so it's like a third world country technically. There's not a big market for third-party lenses. Like you're not gonna find Tamron and Sigma lying around in a camera store back home. You're gonna find the original like G Master lenses. I'm like, I cannot afford this. And then I looked at the Fuji lineup, like the XF lineup. I'm like, okay, well, this kind of makes sense. 700 USD, $899, maybe 1,000, just a tiny bit, but not much. Like, not many Fujifilm lenses are like above $2, $3.
Well, it's a smart move because you don't want to spend a bunch of money and realize you don't like photography.
100%, and then you're like stuck with all this gear.
And then
like,
it's
all right,
like,
well,
oops,
gotta sell this.
Gotta sell it all of a sudden. And
100%.
I think people have this illusion of, buying like the latest kind of gear or the latest lens. It's gonna make them like an amazing photographer, but it's not, because if you don't know what you're doing, then it doesn't really matter what you have.
It's lighting composition, motion.
Sure.
It's fine. Sometimes gear does play a role. Obviously, like you can't,
of course,
go out and shoot at night with an f4 lens. I get it. I absolutely get it. But I feel like the point where you have to upgrade is when you feel like you've reached this ceiling, this like glass ceiling, and the time to upgrade is when you feel like you're ready to like break through the ceiling and like try different stuff and
of course
improve and get better.
Yeah, I think people just use gear as a crutch to like
not
learn the craft,
No, 100%. I'll give you like a simple example.
Yeah.
Not really photography related, but close enough. I had a 2018 MacBook for the past 5-6 years, I think, and when I started doing content full time and making more, videos and using Final Cut more, and I'm rendering all these huge files, I'm like, this is taking ages. It's taking so much time for me just to make like 1 or 2 reels, and I'm like, this is just inefficient. So I hit this, this ceiling where I'm like, I'm stuck. And that is when I decided to like, okay, you know what? I'm going to upgrade my laptop, get better gear, but just to push myself to make more content. And it helped me make way more videos than I used to. So
it's a simple thing, but it's a big thing. Just being able to render quickly.
It makes a crazy difference.
Especially when it's your job.
100%.
Like, there's nothing worse than just waiting for something to render out. Nothing worse than just waiting.
Yeah, it's like you're stuck. You can't do anything.
You're stuck. You can't do anything.
And everything is lagging out. Okay.
Yeah. So I guess it hasn't been long then since you made that transition from like hobby to like full time, eh?
Yeah. So I started in late 2017 as a hobby. I had my main job, my other job, which was like my main source of income. Back home, and obviously like third world countries, you don't have much opportunity when it comes to creative outlets, right? It's more about who you know, and it's very rare the opportunities there. So people there are like either doctors, engineers, lawyers, the holy trinity of jobs. So I used to be a software engineer back home, and that was my main job. So I just used to practice photography on the side. So let's say during my lunch break, I have an hour lunch break. I used to eat my food in like 20 minutes. And then I'm like, okay, I have 40 minutes now. I'm going to walk around the city, take as much photos as I can, practice. That was my practice time. It was 40 minutes a day, not more than that. And slowly but surely started doing more street photography because I like the idea of like walking around the city, having my headphones on, not really having to interact with people after a long day at work, just taking photos and relaxing. And when I moved to Canada in 2022, that is when I was also like applying for jobs as my old career, like as a software engineer. But the market has been kind of bad lately. So I'm like, okay, I can't just sit here and just do nothing. So I have to start doing something. So I just started slowly focusing more and more on photography, and just went out every single day in Toronto. I think for 6 months, almost every single day I used to go out, just shoot photos, just practice and get better. And then video became a big thing. I'm like, okay, time to practice video. Let's practice shooting, regular footage, and now log footage, and now how to color grade. And it's just these small steps that you take. But I want to say I went full time, I want to say in 2022 when I moved.
Yeah. Okay. So like 3 years ago.
Almost 3 years. Yeah, 2.5 years, I want to say.
Wild, eh?
It's a crazy journey.
Yeah. So it's been a good experience.
It's tough.
Tough, yeah.
I'll say this: it's super hard. Whoever wants to do content creation full time, it is difficult. You're fighting with yourself, right?
Are you?
How so? It's basically you want to put out content, you want to be consistent, but sometimes you just don't feel it. You feel something's off. You feel something in your life is affecting you, either your relationships with your friends or your family or your parents, or you miss back home, you're homesick, which happens so much to me because obviously I'm not from here, and I get homesick a lot, and it makes me feel like I miss my family. I'm not in the mood to go out and shoot. I'm not in the mood to create, and creating every single day is hard. It is very hard. Plus you go from being an employee who's working 9 to 5, who's getting paid by a stable job to being like, okay, I gotta find my own clients. I'm my own marketing team. I'm my own creative director.
You got 12 different titles.
I'm my own financial director. I also have to respond to emails. I also have to. It's just so.
It's just you, right? It's just you, right?
There's
no team.
You're
There's
one
no
person,
team behind you.
100%, and it's like everything is dumped on you, and it's like okay. And when I tell my parents this, and they're like, "Well, you wanted to do this,
right?"
Well, yeah, okay. When you put it that way.
And so what do you say back to them?
I'm like, yeah. I mean, I don't argue. I try to not argue with my parents at all.
Do they like understand like what you actually do though?
It's very hard for them, especially like they're not North American, right? The concept of social media and making money off of social media or the internet is a very foreign concept to them, right? It's not something they understand. It's like, oh, you put videos on the internet and somehow you're getting clients and making money. Okay.
Right.
The first year, I want to say they were very kind of pushing back against it. They wanted me to have a stable job. Obviously, I moved to a new country. I'm trying to make money. I'm trying to make a name for myself.
Yeah.
I want to say the past year and a half, they've been very supportive. They've always been supportive.
Like now that you're making money.
Well, I want to be honest. Like my parents are super supportive in everything I do, but they also want the best for me, right? And I understand. I get it. It's like if my kid is like struggling to make money through art and they have a computer science degree, and I'm like, okay, well, you can always go back to your old job, which is I get it. But they've been super supportive. Without them, I would be nowhere. And genuinely, like they're my rock and very supportive. They love my art. They support my work. My dad watches my YouTube videos, even though he probably doesn't even understand what I'm saying. But he messages me at the end of the day. He's like, I watched these videos, and I'm like, sweet.
That's cool. Yeah. It's always there's always the kind of that friction with like family and parents with regards to like kind of like taking like the riskier route. But I mean, you got to do it. You got to at least try, right?
I know, 100%. And with families, like with our families back home, like I want to say Lebanese families, they talk a lot between each other, right? And it's like, oh, well, X and X's son is now a doctor and now he's engaged. Well, look, where are you? I don't know. It's like, okay, there's a lot of chatting happening. It's not just like your nuclear family. It's like your family and your aunts and your uncles and their daughters and their sons. And it's like everyone is talking about you. And it's like, okay.
A lot of pressure, right?
A lot. Insane.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially when you're not there. I guess you just kind of hear it.
Yeah.
Filter back to you. But I guess so you haven't gone back to visit?
I've been once actually. Yeah. June 2023, I went back for a whole month. It was great. Didn't have much friction with anyone, but I felt that they wanted to say something. Not my parents, like my extended family. I had a feeling they wanted to say stuff. But that's fine. It's family, their opinion, and that just makes me want to work harder to prove them wrong, right?
Yeah, like I mean, it's your life. You make your decisions. I mean, it takes courage to move to a new country. Like I see you move here by yourself.
Yeah.
So I mean, how come you pick Canada?
So In 2018, when I was doing my master's in computer science in England, one of the people that I met on the basketball team, and I became a good friend of his name is Arthur James, or AJ. And he's Canadian. He lives here in Windsor. We became super close friends, and he always talked highly of Canada and how I should move there, and my life would be better there. I did a bit of research at the end of 2019, almost, when like Lebanon was going through a really tough time. Economic crisis, port explosion in 2020, riots, and there was a lot happening. So I just did a bunch of research, which countries are accepting of others and other cultures, and Australia came on the list, Canada came on the list, and I just had to make a decision. Australia was not logical for me. Canada was more accepting, in my own opinion.
Interesting.
That was back in 2020. I don't know now what's happening, but we'll see.
Accepting of what?
Like other cultures and other people coming in to the country.
I see. Yeah. Okay.
I know things have changed lately, but it is what it is.
Wow.
And I just by myself applied to, like, I filled out a form and got all my paperwork, and I had my bachelor's degree in computer science and my master's degree. I had 6 years of work experience, so I moved here as a skilled worker. My parents didn't apply; they didn't want to come. Neither did my sister.
Really?
And it's hard for grown-ups, like 50 plus, 60 plus year olds, to move countries, especially when they're very connected to their homeland. If I can say, kind of,
it was their home. They didn't want to leave home.
Yeah, no one wants to leave home, right?
Yeah.
It's a very common thing for Lebanese people to have their kids and daughters immigrate.
Interesting.
It's kind of like part of the culture at this point.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So Canada was a great option. I applied in 2020, and I waited 2 years because of COVID. Then in 2022, I got my acceptance.
And then you moved right to Toronto?
Straight to Toronto. Crazy, right? All the cities I could have picked. In my head, I was like, oh, if I'm going to go be a software engineer, well, I guess Toronto is the place to go.
Guess so, eh?
Yeah.
So you like it here?
I like it. Yeah, I think Toronto's great. It's a great city, multicultural, diverse.
Yeah.
I think there's always something going on. There's always photo opportunities. All the photography events mostly happen in Toronto. It's also pretty close to the US if you ever want to go there, take photos there, or like travel to Utah or wherever, right?
Yeah.
And I moved straight to Toronto. In my head, it was like, oh, here the businesses are here, the work is here, the opportunities are here, and
Wow, man, that's great. I pulled up your Instagram here.
Oh yeah, I can see. Yeah.
So like, what do you like shooting like in the city? Like, are there certain spots that you love to shoot?
Oh, so several, yeah.
Several?
I want to say Tommy Thompson Park.
Right.
Is a super cool spot. The islands are always a beautiful spot to go to.
Yeah.
Financial district, obviously, if you want that, hustle and bustle of the city. Polson Pier, if you want to get the most beautiful sunset in the city, in my opinion, Polson Pier is the place to go.
Yeah.
All the parks that are there, Queen's Park, Trinity Bellwoods.
Yeah.
Just too many places to go.
That's great, man. Well, what would you say your style is?
Colorful. If there's one word to describe my style, I would say
is it?
I think it's colorful. Yeah,
because of Fuji, right? Because of Fuji.
I just love colors. I'm a big fan of colors. I know people like black and white. Some people like black and white.
Right.
Some people like the muted tones. Some people like the filmic look. I just like colors. I think colors are beautiful.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you can see it here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of variety.
Yeah, man. Like, how do you like? I mean, like, what do you think? What do you think makes a good photo, in like your opinion?
That's a really good question.
Yeah, like, is there something that you try to strive for in terms of like your own kind of personal?
I want to say emotion. Trying to convey certain emotion.
Yeah.
And I want to say composition plays a big role too.
Okay.
The better the composition, the more pleasing to the eye.
Okay.
But I do want to say emotion is also a very big component.
Yeah.
Because if someone's just looking at a photo and it's okay, it looks cool, but Does it make you feel something? I don't know. Maybe.
So how does one do that? Or it can't be taught. It's an innate skill.
No, I think it's something you can learn. I think
Yeah.
everything you can learn, right, with practice. I
Yeah.
don't think. Obviously, there's people who are always like more talented at something, or like they pick it up quicker. But I don't think there's anything in the world that you can't learn if you don't practice, right? It's any muscle you gotta flex. Your creative muscle, you gotta flex it, right?
Yeah.
Like, if I'm back home and I'm taking photos of home, I want to convey like what it's like to be in Lebanon, or what it's like to see the people on the streets, or like how does living in Toronto actually feel like? Is it actually this colorful? Is it this beautiful? Is it gloomy? Is it dark? Is it moody?
Oh, yeah. I guess maybe also depends on the time of year too, I suppose.
Yeah, 100%. Spring and summer, best times ever. Winter, you get all that snow and all that gloomy, cloudy skies. Thank God now we're getting some sun.
Right, like we're almost there, right? Well, I think we're almost there, but
that's when also the portrait photos come out. Spring and summer is when the portrait photography is back in business.
You got some shoots lined up?
I have a few. I do have a few lenses that I really want to test. I have one that's pretty cool, and I'm very interested in trying out, especially when the trees bloom and the flowers are ready.
Yeah, there's a few spots in the city with some cherry blossoms.
Oh yeah, cherry blossom season. It's coming soon.
Woods. Yeah.
Very exciting.
Well, yeah, it's fun, right? It's like the start of spring, and everyone's in a good mood. Everyone's in a good mood.
100%.
You can tell, right? So, it's exciting, man. It's exciting. Like, how do you like? I mean, do you have like a certain type of model that you like working with, or is it just more kind of like breezy in terms of that?
I'm usually very casual and chill when it comes to models, unless I have like a very specific look that I'm looking for.
Right.
With models, I tend to chat with them earlier, like not just straight up, just let's go meet there, just to gain that kind of trust, see how the vibe is. Because sometimes, like, you don't want to end up shooting with a person who's like grumpy or very.
It's not going to be fun.
Yeah, someone who's a downer. You want someone who's on the same energy level as you.
Yeah.
And someone who understands you, who like you don't really have to explain much, and who does have a bit of modeling experience, because spending time directing someone is also like annoying, because then I'd have to sit in their place and be like, okay, can you do this and can you do that? I'm like,
right.
But no, I'm very chill when it comes to models. I usually tend to pick people I've spoken to and I've met before, just because I know like they're easy to work with.
And you meet them at like other events, or
usually we meet at other events, photography events. Usually they're either there, or through Instagram DMs, and we just chat a bit, just see the vibe, see that we're on the same wavelength when it comes to ideas.
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah,
because you want to make sure it's a good experience for everyone.
100%.
Because it's good. It's good tips, man. I mean, it takes work, right? It takes a little bit of patience too, with regards to that stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure. You don't want to. Again, you need a model who actually has a bit of modeling experience, because teaching someone how to pose is difficult.
Yeah.
Especially when we're photographers and we're not models.
Yeah, that's why we have the camera, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Are there some good events happening in the city now, you think?
Canon usually has a few every few months. Lately, they haven't actually done anything. I do think there is an event happening at the end of March, but I don't think I can say much about it yet.
Okay. Yeah, there's always something going on in the city with regards to like photography or video or something. It's just like there's so many things going on in the city. I'm not like Toronto's like a weird city because it's a little bit saturated with it. Like my friend's in Vancouver, and he goes, there really isn't like a meetup culture there. He said, I found that very surprising, but
in Toronto that exists whenever there's like an official event happening, for sure. Yeah. But I just feel like if you want to have a big group going out doing street photography, it's a bit hectic because everyone's trying to get their own photo, and it's not you're not really socializing too much. It's like everyone's like focusing on their own thing,
Yeah.
But it's funny because whenever, like when the sun came out, I think last week, I went out for a walk with my dog, and just next to my house, I think, like on Yonge Street, there was, I want to say, I saw like 3 or 4 photographers just walking.
Yeah, they're in the
Very
wild.
cool.
They're live
Very
in the
cool.
wild.
There's a lot of photographers in the city.
There's a lot, man. There's a lot. I mean, I don't know. Toronto's it's a very saturated city with. I mean, it's a good thing because at least there's always a group for someone. I always find it's important to be in the group that fits you
Yeah,
versus trying to chase a group that may not be the right fit because
I 1000% agree with this, and I see it firsthand. There's a lot of groups, like, I don't want to call them cliques. They're just groups where like people, they mesh well together. And trying to put yourself in a group where it's like, okay, these people might not really want to hang out. It's just better to find your group and your own people where it's like, you guys fit in well together. You understand what you want.
Yeah, like
but everyone's very friendly. Like no one has any animosity towards anyone.
Well, that's what I mean, right? It's like don't really chase trends. Like just chase what you value, what you want to learn, and try to be in that kind of group versus trying to be in another group where you think it's kind of trendy and cool because
100%, just because you want, I don't know, clout or views or
whatever,
right?
like whatever the thing is.
No, put yourself in a group where you can learn stuff from them and they can learn stuff from you.
Yeah, I think it works better, but we're all human. We all want to get like that social validation.
Everyone wants that approval. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, happens to the best of us, man. But I mean, that's why we said at the start. You just gotta keep going, right? 100%, man. Like, how do you like manage everything? Like your day-to-day business? Like, do you have like certain guidelines or rules that you need to follow for yourself? Because I was just talking to someone the other day and they were saying you need to protect your energy. You need to protect your mental health. You need to protect your body.
I agree.
And they have these kind of like hard set rules for them just so that they can like last. I'm not sure if you have anything.
It's super hard to even like follow a routine at this point. A lot of times I'm like, all right, tomorrow I'm gonna wake up early. I'm gonna like first off like check my emails, have a good breakfast, go maybe work out, run or go to the gym, get a nice sweat just to stay in shape. I feel like as photographers we're always like spending a lot of time on our desk as well. And not focus on our bodies or mental health. But it's hard to manage. I don't know. I feel like we all try to have some sort of schedule or some sort of routine. But in the end, I feel like we're winging it a lot. It's like, all right, well, today I'm gonna answer a bunch of emails. I'm gonna edit some reels.
Right.
But the one saving grace for me, Sunny, I'm gonna have to put you on this.
Hi, Sunny. Sorry.
It's all good. The one thing that really helps me is writing things down, and I have this notebook with me. I think I've been using this for 2 years now, and it's chock full of like, I don't know if you can see any of this, but like, it's packed.
What is it?
It's just a notebook where I'm like, I every day I'm like, I make a to-do list or like a checklist, and I'm like, today I want to edit 5 reels, and I want to edit this set of photos, and I need to edit this set of photos, or like, these are the YouTube video ideas that I want to work on this week or next week. And I just make lists. Even some pages are like the same stuff. I just move them from one page to the other, but just having them written down kind of pushes me more towards like being more organized. That makes sense.
Yeah, there's a science to it. There's a science to having it written down.
100%. Even like if I write them down on my notes on my computer or my phone, it's not the same. I need to like physically write it down with a pen to be like, this is what I have to do today. So the way I stay organized is honestly, if you don't have a notebook, get one, just keep it next to you, keep it in your bag at all times. If you get a creative idea, write it down. If you get a YouTube video idea, write it down. If you have a reel idea, write it down. And if you have a to-do list for the day, write it down.
Well, it also keeps you focused on that. Because I find if you put something in your phone, you're going to forget about it, or you're not going to pay attention to it because it's kind of mixed into the soup with all your other stuff on your phone.
It's just distracting, right? You're going to end up being on Twitter and Instagram.
And you're just going to scroll and then. So I do agree with you that it has to be separate.
Prioritization is important. It's like, okay, what's my priority? Do I have a deadline that I need to, like, do I have photos of clients that need to be done first, right? I can't like wake up tomorrow and be like, okay, let me edit landscape photos that I took last week for fun,
right.
when I have a client that needs their portrait photos done by the end of the day. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
So
well,
putting things into perspective, right?
Yeah, I think being organized is key too. Yeah, it's good, man.
Even in your like folders on your hard drive, right? Like I have everything pretty much organized. It's like, okay, well, 2024, 2025, photos, videos, January, February, March, April, May.
Yeah.
Just folders and folders, and where everything is like
I bet.
organized.
How many hard drives do you have?
Oh my goodness. All right. So I have a 4 terabyte hard drive.
Okay.
That is basically like a backup.
Yeah.
I haven't used it in a long time. I actually need to back up some of my stuff.
Back your stuff up, man.
I have 2 1 terabyte SSDs.
Yeah.
That are SanDisk. That have stuff from 2022 and 2021. I have them labeled. They're on the side. They're all backed up. They're fine. I just have them safe and sound.
Yeah.
So what I have right now, I have a 4 terabyte SSD, SanDisk 4 terabyte SSD.
Okay.
And a 4 terabyte ProGrade SSD. Those have all the latest stuff. So those have all like the stuff from 2024 and 2025.
Yeah.
And I recently also got an 8 terabyte hard disk from Ugreen, I believe. Was it Ugreen? I think the encasing was Ugreen, but the hard drive was something else. I think it was WD. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But it's 8 terabytes.
Yeah.
And that thing now has like pretty much everything. So the 8 terabytes has basically all my backed up stuff from the past 3 years.
Yeah.
It's just it's a lot.
Wow.
It's a lot to think about. It's funny because I know people who have even more than that. They have like NASs, right? So they have like a NAS where it's like 20, 80 terabytes, like 80 terabytes of data, and it's like they have all their B-roll and their YouTube videos and folders on folders and files of photos. I'm not to that level yet because, to be honest, I can't handle the NAS right now.
No way.
I feel like right now I have a good system where I'm like, okay, SSD and 8 terabyte hard disk.
Yeah.
Once I get to the point where I'm like, I have way too much stuff, maybe I'll consider moving to a NAS. But at this point, I'm satisfied with my storage.
Whatever works. Whatever keeps you organized, man.
Yeah, and it's also like when you're used to something, it makes you more efficient, right? If I need to move to a new workflow, it's gonna take a bit more time to get used to it. And
yeah, I bought last year. I had a 4 terabyte hard drive that I bought brand new, and after like 2 months, it failed on me, corrupted. I'm like, that sucks.
That is just pain.
It's pain, man. I try to take it in and try to get it fixed. They're like, no, it's gone.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's
what?
It's wild. I know people who, like, other than the NASs, obviously they have like, I want to say like two 20 terabyte hard drives where like one is backup one, the other is backup two, and it's like that is insane.
Yeah, I know. It's just like I always try to back up at least twice.
That's fair. I got to a point actually where I'm like, you know what? I might delete some stuff because I'll never look at it again.
Yeah. It's just but when it's brand new like that, it's like, man, wasn't cheap. The hard drive was like $300, $250 maybe.
Storage is expensive.
Even though it's expensive, man.
It used to be more expensive, but it's still expensive. Wild,
what are you gonna do, right? You gotta pay to play, I suppose, right?
100%. People don't understand how expensive photography is, man. From storage to hard disks, to gear, to lenses, to tripods,
SD
to microphones, SD cards. People just don't get it. And then you go up and they're like, oh, how much do you charge? You say whatever, $1,000. They're like, oh no, that's too expensive. I mean, bro.
Yeah, they just want to use the phone, right? Well, you get what you get. You get what you pay for. I mean, like, how do you
underrated?
How do you overcome that? How do you overcome that that objection where, no, it's too pricey? Like, do you just walk away, or do you kind of like negotiate?
So I always try to find a happy medium for both parties, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes some people are just way too unreasonable to the point where they're like they're asking for like whatever 2 reels and a set of photos, and I'm like, okay, well, this is like, we're talking like $2,000 or like $3,000 worth of content, because I'm shooting
Yeah.
log and I'm color grading and there's
Yeah.
music, there's
Sure.
licensing fees, there's rights, you know what? And they're like, oh no, my budget's like $200 a video,
Wild,
but
eh?
which ends up being like 400, $500. I'm like, listen, I'm asking, like, I'm telling you the cost would be, let's say 2,000. You're asking for like $400. If you want to find a happy medium, let's find something. But if you're
Yeah.
like, if you don't want to, or like you're just gonna end up looking for someone else, I learned to just genuinely not lower my value and be like, fair enough, that's what you want to pay, I am not the person for you. And I'm a big believer of like, I'm a big believer of fate, and where like, if God wants you to have this money, you will get this money, right? And it's like, if it's written for you to have this amount of money paid to you, you will get that money. And if it's not from this client, it will be some client in the future.
100%.
Yeah.
Definitely never lower your value.
No, 100%. Never go crawling back to anyone.
Never.
No,
Yeah.
not an
Because-
ex, not a client.
Yeah, because that client will get it real for whatever they paid, and then they'll realize it's garbage.
They will get
realize
the quality
it's garbage.
they paid for, 100%.
Yeah, then they realize it's not.
Yeah.
It's 100%. It's just I feel like a lot of people do lower their value. I think that's why clients think that they can get stuff for like $100 because they've gotten that before from other people.
Exactly.
And that's where it hurts that's where it hurts us, right?
I always hear that the one statement that I hear so much is like, oh, but this person does it for this much. Then go to that person.
Right. Man, don't you want to tell that person? It's like, what are you doing?
It's why I try not to argue with anyone, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, if that person, that's what I've seen people do like packages where it's like insane stuff. It's like $50 for like 50 photos or something.
Oh
And
my
it's like,
God.
I'm like, bro, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, first off, you're doing it for other people, and you're like, you can do one shoot worth $1,000 instead of doing 50 shoots, or each one is like
exactly
$20.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. But it is what it is. Every person has their value. Every person knows what they're worth.
Yeah.
You can see that person's work either on their website or their portfolio. Always do your research before hiring someone.
Sure.
Have a talk with them, have a call with them, see what it's like.
Oh yeah, it's huge, man. It's huge, because last thing you want is don't want to get into business with a crazy client
who asks for so many changes all the time.
Like, what? Yeah, well, that will cost you money.
Yeah.
I assume you send out contracts.
I do. Yeah. I have like a template usually where it's like,
just list what you're gonna give them.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just so they can come back.
It differs from every person to person, right? Sometimes people want to pay less, so I'm like, okay, well, you're gonna get this for less.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna get less photos, or you're gonna get less videos.
Yeah, because it's easy for clients to come back and say, well, can you just make this one change? And meanwhile, that one change is like 3 hours of work, because you got to adjust the entire thing. If it's a video, for example, right? So,
100%. Especially like if they don't like the music. The worst part is like, oh, I don't like the music. Bro, the whole thing is edited to totally.
I know. What do you use for music? What platform?
I use a couple. So I have a subscription to Epidemic Sound.
Yeah.
If I want like non-copyright, obviously music.
Yeah.
I think Epidemic Sound is pretty good.
I have it. I use it.
Yeah. The variety of music is pretty good. The sound effects used to be better. I don't know now.
Yeah.
But there's also another platform. They're a new company. I think they're called Audio.
Yeah. They've been around.
Yeah.
Audio?
They have like a 70% off.
Do they?
For the first year, which is kind of crazy.
Really?
So you end up paying, I think, like $70 for a year, like $30 for a year. I don't remember, but it was pretty good. Audio have a good amount of sound effects. Their music is not as good as Epidemic Sound, but I think they're growing.
Yeah.
Haven't worked with Artlist yet. Not sure what that's like, but a lot of my friends use Artlist. They swear by it. So, yeah.
Okay. There's also a site called Licked. I don't know if you've called.
Yeah.
And they do like mainstream music.
Mainstream music, yeah. I think it's a bit more expensive.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like, you're using like pop music that's
like like artists.
Yeah, like you can use like regular pop music like on the radio, which is kind of wild.
Yeah. They Lick's been around. I've seen a little bit of promo on Licked by some other YouTubers.
So the people who use that service, the people I've seen use that service are like huge YouTubers, like 2,
Mr.
3
Beast.
million, 4 million, 5 million. Yeah, Chris MD.
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
people who do like big kind of
Right.
YouTube productions. Yeah.
Right.
Who can afford it, obviously, but yeah.
Hey man, one day, one day
Yeah, you never know.
one day you'll be there.
You never know.
But
Yeah.
what song are you gonna use for yourself for like your intro
I have
video?
no idea, man. I don't even
You
have
just
an
get,
intro. You know, that's so
you don't
funny
have
because
an
like,
intro?
no,
You
I feel like
gotta,
YouTube intros were a thing. I want
yeah,
to say like 2018 to like
sure,
2022 or something.
sure.
I don't know. I just don't use that anymore. I just like straightforward. I'm like,
Okay.
I have like usually a short introduction where like I'm talking about, let's say, a product or something for like the first 20 seconds. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, this is the brand new whatever, blah blah blah. Today we're gonna be going through this and this and that, and then I'm straight going into the video because I feel like
Mm.
because of TikTok and short form content,
Yeah.
people's attention spans have been destroyed.
What?
I mean, everyone now has ADHD. Everyone now
What?
has short attention spans, and I'm
Yeah.
like, if you play an intro that's like 10 seconds, people are gonna go away,
Mm.
which is wild. So
That's crazy, bro.
But when you like straight away go in the video and you're like, you show B-roll and you show facts and you show stats, and the retention rate is like always higher.
Ah, interesting. And you always talk about like Fuji gear usually?
Mostly Fuji gear, not
Yeah,
because like I use like them or anything like the
Yeah.
most, which is I do like them, but it's not like I'm shilling anything. I
Yeah.
criticize when criticism is
You call them
warranted.
out? You call
Oh
them
yeah,
out?
I do.
Yeah.
And I praise when there is praise to be given.
Okay.
It's just the mere simplicity of it, or the fact that I just have access to Fujifilm gear because I shoot Fujifilm.
Mm.
The one thing that you like, if you want to make gear videos on YouTube, right? And if you don't have the money to buy all the latest stuff, right? You just make videos on what you have.
Okay.
Just
like anything?
Whatever you have.
Whatever
right?
you have.
I've made videos on lenses that are like 5 years old. I've made videos on lenses that are 2 years old. I've made videos on cameras that are 3, 4, 5 years old. Like whatever you have, you can make a video on it.
Yeah.
But the point is to make it in your own way, in your own like, spin on the topic, right?
Right.
I recently reviewed the GFX 50R, which is a medium format camera that Fujifilm came out with in 2019. I reviewed it like 3 or 4 months ago, and I'm like, I freaking love this thing.
Yeah,
it's a 5-year-old camera, but I love it.
Yeah, and you actually mean it.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's not like I'm shilling at this camera. They don't even make it anymore, right?
Right.
But I just mostly do Fuji gear just because it's what I've been using and it's what I have access to.
Yeah,
and I just have the ability to borrow like newer lenses or newer gear and then return it back to Fujifilm.
Yeah. Okay. So are those videos sponsored?
No. I can say whatever I want. Yeah.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Interesting. Yeah, because like sometimes you see like gear reviews, and sometimes you can tell that they're just doing it because they got it for free. Like they don't really care.
Yeah.
So
it's wild. I don't know. I tend to criticize when needed, right? If I don't want to talk about other people, but like let's say the X106 when it came out, everyone was hyping it up. I got my hands on it. I said what I liked. I said the battery stinks.
That's it, eh?
Yeah, it's an older battery. Even like the XM5, I'm like, the XM5 is great, but no EVF, no stabilization, no battery stinks too. But other than that, beautiful camera, very good.
Nice
for the price.
Yeah, sure. No, it's good, man. It always takes a little bit of courage to get in front of the camera and talk too. I think too.
That was a very
not easy thing.
It's so hard, dude. It's so hard. My first YouTube videos, I want to say like they weren't even long videos. They were like 10 minutes, but like to record the whole thing, it took me like freaking 2 hours, 3 hours. I'm like, holy man.
First take,
I remember my
first third take.
And like English is not my first language as well, right? So I'm like, I mess up a lot, and I'm trying to. Even though when I'm talking normally, it's easy. It's just when I have a script in mind, and when I look at the lens, I get confused and I stumble, and I feel like my accent starts coming out more.
Yeah.
But I also remember my first few talking head reels. I was like a robot, and it took me, I think, an hour to film like a 20-second reel.
Yeah, it takes. It's not easy. People think it's easy to tuck from the camera
No.
until they start. Until they
the
do
the
it.
moment you look straight down that lens, you're like, okay, well, I forgot everything I needed to say.
That's basically what it is. You get like the deer in the headlights vibe, right?
Yeah, and I moved from writing full scripts, like word for word,
Yeah.
to again writing bullet points on my notebook and just being like, okay, the bullet point, talk about the sensor. And then I start yapping about the sensor. But like it's just I went from full scripts to bullet points.
Yeah, it probably makes it simpler too. You don't have to
Way
like
easier.
worry about so much in your head, you know.
It also looks more authentic to
Yeah.
people when you're, you know, going from kind of, I don't want to say the heart, but it's like just the flow. It looks
of course
better. It looks more like a conversation.
You don't want to be like, you know, okay, today we're gonna talk about like we're gonna
like you can have a full script where it's like, okay, guys, today we have to talk about these 3 main points about it looks like a robot. It
you'd be like an AI, robot.
That's what makes us different than all these AI videos, right? It's the fact that we're more personable. It's like we're having a conversation between two friends.
Well, that's what I always say about AI. It's like AI can't be you. Like it's impossible.
You never know, man.
It may help you, like
100%.
Right,
it does
like,
help us for sure. It does help us for sure in making things more streamlined, more easy. You know, having the bullet points, having
just
all the information,
stuff.
Summary, like a summary of all the information. But in the end, you're gonna have to turn on the camera and record.
That's what it is, right? You're gonna have to do it. So I mean, I just think AI is gonna help with like the admin side of stuff.
I think so too.
YouTube title, YouTube description.
It's not about fighting it. It's about embracing how it could help us improve. As you said, like SEO and keywords and tags,
all the unsexy stuff. People
100%, all the stuff that people don't like to do.
Yeah, that's what I mean, right? So we'll see where it goes in the next couple of years. I mean,
only gonna get crazier.
Yeah, I said this the other day, but we only know what they want to show us. We don't even know like what's behind the curtain.
Oh, 100%.
So you wonder, right? But you wonder. So what do you like doing more, like the photo side or like the video side? Do you have a preference?
It's funny because when I started, obviously it was photo side, and then recently it changed to video, just because I like capturing like people in their element doing their daily lives, doing their daily routines on the street.
Okay.
But I miss photography a lot. I miss that fact that I can just go with one camera instead of going out with like 2 cameras where it's like one for B-roll and one for photo and one for video. You know what I mean? I just miss like going out with one camera just dedicated for photo.
Yeah.
And just shooting photos like I used to. And because it gives me so much peace, and like I don't have to worry about social media, and I don't have to worry about, I need to make a reel, I need to make a short, I need to make a TikTok. And honestly, that was the best point that I gave in my GFX 50R video, the medium format camera from 2019, because it's not a video camera. That camera for video is not it. That camera is like a photo-centric camera. And that's why I absolutely loved it. I loved that it made me go back to shooting photos horizontal more than vertical as well. I just like that. I like going back to like what it used to be before social media and videos scrolling up and down.
Yeah.
I just miss it. Yeah.
That's cool, eh? Kind of takes you back.
Yeah. I'm a bigger fan of photography for sure. Yeah.
Wow, man. Well, hopefully it's a good year for you.
I hope so too.
You got any trips planned?
Yeah, going to Vegas.
What?
Early April.
Way.
There's a conference there called NAB, which is like a broadcasting
I've
conference.
heard of it before.
Yeah, it's like the biggest conference there. All the camera companies are going to be there.
Oh, cool.
So going there.
Cool.
My group of friends are going to Italy. I am not going with them.
What?
I'm probably going to San Francisco to visit a friend.
Oh, yeah?
And I'm trying to get a visa to go to London, England.
Oh, yeah?
In the next couple months, because my sister lives there. So I might just go visit her.
Why not?
September, going back home to Lebanon to see the family.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So you are going all over the place.
Well, last year I didn't travel much, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
But my main goal is not to be away for too long. I want to be in Canada as much as I can, just because for just as a permanent resident, just to get my citizenship sooner, right? So the sooner I get my citizenship, the easier it is for me to travel to other places without having to worry about a visa.
Of course, yeah, of course. And you gonna make content when you're on these trips too, you think?
Yeah, I'd like to. Yeah, I like to. I feel like it gives me more than just like it's not like I'm just going for vacation, right? It's like I'm actually being more productive. I went to visit my family. So my family now, my mom and dad now, they live in Qatar, in Doha. And I went to visit them last December, a few months ago.
Yeah.
Went there for 2 weeks, I think. But I took with me like my cameras. I took with me all my gear.
Yeah.
Filmed a bunch of shorts, took a bunch of photos, filmed like 2 or 3 YouTube videos. So I felt very productive being there, because like I wasn't just there on a vacation kind of thing. I was there making videos, taking photos, and editing.
So. Yeah. But you're also making stuff for you too.
100%. It's just stuff I like to do, right? It's like
it's a different vibe, right? When you're just making stuff for you, and it's just a different vibe.
Everyone else.
Yeah, you just want to please yourself, right? Because whenever I go on trips, I'm always like, oh yeah, I gotta film everything and shoot everything, and it's
I feel like
I have to slow down. Like, oh, just relax and like enjoy yourself.
That's the thing, slowing down. That's what people aren't doing anymore. I swear. I love when I'm on these trips where it's like I don't have to be making content all the time. It's like I'm more like taking memories rather than getting photos that I have to post for people to see. It's like these memories are for me, for the future.
Yeah. I like how you said that, memories. It becomes a little bit more personal.
Yeah.
Versus just content, which is, I don't know,
That's the main reason why I love the X100. Like the X106. I said it in my video. It's in the title. I said this camera is a vault for your memories.
It's a vault for your memories.
That was the title of the video.
They should take that as their tagline for like their promo.
They should. But I think so, because it's an everyday carry camera. You don't have to edit your photos. You don't have to worry about posting them. They're for you. I'm taking photos of my dog with it. Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah. So imagine if you have kids, like, or a wife. Yeah.
Imagine.
That's memories for life.
A vault for your memories. Wow, man, that's great. That's a great caption. I like that one a lot.
Thank you.
No, it's super important to like make memories, because I think honestly, like when you look back on like the overarching like growth of like someone's career, it's pretty cool to see, especially when you can see it day one to day.
Where you can just see,
it's kind of cool. I think
it's funny talking about that, because I don't think I've ever deleted a single photo that I took when I started my Instagram page. Beautiful. I keep them there just because I like to sometimes go down and be like,
yeah.
So this is what my style was like. This is what I used to do. This is how bad I was. And this is how good I am now.
Yeah.
The only person you should compare yourself to is yourself, right?
Well, yeah, that's yeah, that is true. Always easier said than done, but that is very true.
Yeah, that is very true. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
comparison is the thief of joy.
It is. Well, these are very strange times, right? Especially when you're in like the freelance world, I always feel like you're always on the grind. Like you're always trying to get a client. Like you're always trying to close a deal. Like you're always trying to do something.
Yeah,
always trying to
make money. Trying to hustle. Well, that's what I also feel like. I also feel like the grind mindset is a very North American thing. I don't know if it's just me. I feel like
no, I think it is.
North America is very, very focused on money and getting your bag, and you gotta grind to do whatever, right? And then I'm like, when I travel to Europe, or like I go to Italy or whatever, or I go back home, I feel like everyone's so chill. Yeah. Everyone's relaxed. No one's rushing towards anything.
Yeah.
Life is happening, and they're not like grinding to pay next month's rent. I don't know. It's interesting. It's a very big shift from where I'm from.
Yeah, you wonder like how that happened. Like you wonder how
I want to say social media.
Yeah,
and the fact that people can make money off of social media has pushed people towards, as I said, getting the bag.
Yeah, get the bag. Yeah.
which is such a crazy thing to say
I always
nowadays.
I always think that when you get one bag, then you want to get the second bag. Like it never really ends. Like you
People,
always want to get the next one.
yeah,
You know?
people are greedy, right?
Yeah,
You can
it's
never
great.
have enough
Yeah,
money, I guess.
yeah, yeah. It's interesting because I
But
feel
yeah,
like
it pushes people, I feel like, also to do stuff like crazy stuff, like the people who do NPC live streams in New York, or
right, right.
like people who do pranks that are like harming others just for the sake of views and clout.
Yeah,
I'm like, come on, man, that's
yeah.
not how it should be.
No, yeah, it's wild, eh?
You have the world's information on the tip of your fingers, like, and you're using this
Right.
phone to make weird content. That
Right. Yeah.
doesn't help
It's a
anyone.
weird thing. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's some weird times though, eh? Some very
Very.
strange times, eh? But yeah, I feel like it's an interesting point you make between like North America and the rest of the world, where maybe it is because you can make money off Instagram and
Probably, yeah. Maybe
and
it's like
YouTube.
the
Like
fact that you can make money off of socials that easy. It's like,
yeah,
well, why not? You know,
right.
people will do
And
anything to become famous, I guess.
yeah, like people see like
It's very funny. Yeah.
yeah, people
Yeah,
see like Mr. Beast and they go, I want to be Mr. Beast. Like, well, you
Yeah.
can't.
I feel like the amount of people who want to be famous more than
Right.
are larger in number in North America compared
Yeah.
to the like, I want to say other countries. I
Yeah.
guess. I don't know. I feel like people there, like, they're actually the opposite. They're like, oh, I don't want to be famous. I don't want to be known.
Right. Yeah, but famous for what? Like
That's the thing.
what
That's
do you
the
want to be
thing.
famous
Yeah. What do I want
for?
to be
Like,
famous for?
there's a lot of famous people that don't really do anything.
I don't even want to be famous. I just want, like,
Yeah.
whenever someone asks me, like, what do you want out of this? I always say, I just want my work to be appreciated.
Wow, that's nice.
That's it.
Very
I just
simple.
want my hard work to be appreciated.
Yeah.
And people to look at a photo or a video or whatever and be like, this is very nice. I like this.
Yeah. Well, that's it.
That's all I want.
That's all you want. Eh? Yeah, no, it's good. I think that's good. It's a good I think it's a good like a North Star for artists in general. It's a good North Star just because we all want to make stuff that we like, that other people like, that we feel that means something
and resonates with others.
Resonates. It kind
or
of
something that you feel like once you're gone, it's gonna have an impact on someone, or like impact on people, or like, I don't know. It's weird. We wanna leave a mark, but we're all trying to.
Yeah,
that mark.
That's the artist. It's the artist struggle, I suppose. Eh?
Yeah.
That's great, man. Well, we're I think it's a good place to leave off because we're up against the hour. So just want to say thanks for fitting this in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Any final words for the?
My camera is approaching standard temperature. All right.
Even better time.
Right on time. Yeah.
Any final words for the watchers, listeners?
Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoy what I said, or learn something from what I said, or I hope I motivate you in some way, and go take photos and videos and show the world and be creative.
Love it, man. Love to have you back on at some point. And
for sure.
Everyone watching, listening, go check out Taha. Links are in the description, and we shall see you next time. Peace.